to another Askari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake, off of the Ancient Illumination series as well as the Young Chronicles. I am joined once again by Jocelyn Short.
Yo.
She's a graphic artist and illustrator and the creator of Bearers. We're waiting on her comic series to begin and come out. And we are also joined by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
He is the creator of Eve of Insurrection, Eve of Reclamation. Now, he has a new kids comic, I believe, Growing in the Garden.
Yep.
And he's also the illustrator on Ancient Illumination graphic novels as well as Young Chronicles comics. We are more than halfway through, I think, of issue 2. That should be out later this year in December. And today we are chopping it up about Loki season 2, episode 1, Ouroboros, which is hilarious. I forget the actor's name. I just know him. I remember his Short Round, man. I will forever know him.
Ki Young Quay, something like that.
I will forever know that man as Short Round from Indiana Jones.
Of course.
Just because it's hilarious. And from when he in Goonies too.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Goonies. He's the Asian guy in Goonies. So, spoiler alert, if you all have yet to watch the first episode of Loki Season 2, I'm just going to open up. It opens with Loki running through the TVA where Mobius at first doesn't recognize him. Of course, this is the aftermath of the ending of Loki Season 1 where Sylvie killed He Who Remains, and now we have the threat of an onslaught of variant Kangs going back to war now that He Who Remains is not there to kind of quell all of that. And it reset a lot of stuff as Sylvie, after killing He Who Remains. And Loki is time slipping. I said glitching in my notes, but it's time slipping. You see this weird where he's like glitching, where he's there and not there at the same time, seems to be getting torn apart and put back together instantaneously. And they show that him glitching right before the title screen pops in, and Hunter B-15 comes in, which is Wunmi Masako, the actress, wants to tell the truth, and her and Mobius are discussing whether or not they should rip the Band-Aid off and tell everybody what's going on. Mobius is like, can't do that. Like, you gonna tell everybody the gods are gone and all the things you've been doing have been for naught. It's all fake.
God is dead. We're all fake. Everyone's a lie.
And my boy B5 had a little attitude with Mobius there. You know, hey, what's up with this? These ski-doos. And then Mobius tried to actually explain, I don't care. I don't care about it. Straight to, and then they're wanted in the war rooms. They go talk in the war room, and these people are just, they want to keep the status quo going for whatever reason. Like, we can't stop now, basically. We got to keep pruning. And B-15's like, no, we can't do that. These are lies with real, like, every one of us are variants, as a matter of fact. So you had a life, I had a life, she had a life, and we just nipped all that in the bud. What did you guys think about the opener?
I like that it picked right back up from where we left off. Just right back into the action, like the immediate consequences of what happened, and I appreciated that because I hadn't seen Loki since the end of it.
Yeah,
it's been a minute.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, all right, I remember what's going on. Yeah, I wasn't sure, like, because didn't she decide to, like, end the status quo and be like, all right, we're gonna stop pruning? So I wasn't sure, like, I thought that was a
later.
later.
Yeah, the one, I don't know what her title is, but
Renslayer.
No, it wasn't Renslayer.
Oh, it wasn't Renslayer?
No, the white lady would kind of had almost the jowls, and her hands looked weird. I don't know if y'all saw that too, but
I saw her hands.
Her hands kind of looked weird, and she was the one that was like, I could do anything. And I was like, this doesn't sound like it's going in a good direction, because what up?
Percy, son, stop this. We're on the live.
You
continue, Rob.
Like, yeah, yep. He was like, we can do anything. They're like, we got to stop doing this. And then she was like, no, we don't have to stop doing this. I can basically do anything. Like, there's nothing to stop me. Renslayer is gone. We don't know where Sylvia is at this time. Uh, the inmates are running the asylum right now. They have no clue. Like, everyone above them is gone. He who remains is gone. And so they're like, and they're not heeding any of the warnings. That's the crazy thing. When Loki finally pops up, they're really not heeding anything he has to say. All right, you're a problem. And it's obvious the TVA is kind of falling apart. Mobius decides he wants to fix Loki's time slipping and takes him down to repairs, where we meet the character Ouroboros, but then the nickname he gave him was OB, so everybody wouldn't have to say that, I guess. And he didn't even remember meeting him, which was hilarious. But he fit in, because we already had the quirky kind of humor between Loki and Mobius, and Obi seems to kind of fit right in as more of a deadpan. He's a straight man to them, even more so, because he's not joking or being facetious, but it is some of the stuff he says and does. The philosophical discussions back and forth, where he's taking everything super seriously, are hilarious. Turns out that, go ahead.
I was gonna say I appreciated his like the way he was responding to Morbius and Loki's kind of back and forth. Like I agree with you. He was like a solid middle ground between the two of them.
Yeah, he wasn't jokey at all, but it still came out. Some of the things he said still came out as funny.
Yeah.
And then right in the middle of the conversation, Loki time slips away, and then Obi and Mobius are having a discussion, and he's like, "This isn't even possible. It's impossible to time slip in the TVA." But he's like, "But you just saw it happen. Literally, you and I just watched this event take place that you're telling me cannot be."
Question: did the show explain why Loki is doing that? Like, what started that? I can't remember if it was happening in the first season. I don't remember it.
No,
it's a new phenomenon. And I think it's got something to do with Sylvie killing He Who Remains, kind of messed stuff up to the point where it caused this to happen with him. And funnily enough, Obi is having this exact same conversation with Loki, but in the past. And as they're having the conversation, Obi in the future is remembering, like back and forth, remembering things. Oh yeah, there was one guy complaining about time slipping. Like, what was your friend's name? He's like, Loki. Yeah, him. He's like, are you talking to him right now? Remembering?
Like, that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Just because we never, actually, I feel like that's the first time we see something in media where like someone is and like directly affecting time, and then it kind of like it's loading up into the future and then having a direct effect. Like that was all well done. That was like, man, I actually missed this show.
Yeah.
And like
the
the cinematography and everything.
That makes
really
sense.
Good. Yeah, it did.
I appreciated it because I feel like a lot of shows that would do this kind of same thing, like that whole sequence would take place over a few episodes, but it happened all in one sequence, which I greatly appreciated.
So well done.
Yeah. So then Obi decides, to fix this, I'm gonna have to take y'all down to the temporal loom. And I still find it hilarious that Mobius doesn't recall going to like any of these places, even though the fact that he's been there, because he didn't remember how long it had been since he had met Obi initially. And Obi's like, oh, it's been like 400 years. He's like, oh, it feels like 1,000. Like,
well, didn't the show
really go ahead?
Didn't the show kind of like didn't Loki introduce the idea that they were all like, since they're all variants, so they're getting their minds wiped. Like, remember, he's like, I don't remember my mind. Mobius, I don't remember my mind being wiped or whatever.
Yeah, like, well, you wouldn't because your mind was wiped.
Exactly. So he's like, you're just being replaced, So of course you don't remember or both. But
yeah. So yeah, the time slipping remedy was hilarious. He's like, basically, you have to go out here. I'm going to open the blast doors. You got to put something on the machine out there, and then I'm going to close the blast doors. And once you successfully connect this thing, that'll basically allow me some time to retrofit this huge machine looming the TVA, the heartbeat of the TVA, then I need Loki to prune himself. But if you don't do it, you're gonna rip all the skin off of you, and he will be lost in time forever. And them discussing of the timing of it. And he's like, "How much time do we have?" This is my favorite, one of my favorite lines. He's like, "You have about an hour." And then some object hits the window. He's like, "You got 5 minutes." I'm like, "Damn." What do you guys think about all that?
I appreciated it because it was like the way OB delivered all of that, like it illustrated a sense of urgency, but like not in an obvious way. It was in such a way that was like so entertaining, but it set the stage.
Yeah.
Where I don't know, it's really interesting. Just if you think about like the idea that we're talking about time and stuff, and how his delivery of all of this urgent stuff is like so deadpan and chill and just
Yeah.
like neither here nor there. He's just like, hey, there is raw time. We need you to go do something about that in about 5 minutes, or else it's over for us. It's curtains.
It's
Yeah,
a
that
wrap.
was
It's a
the
wrap.
funniest part is how like just matter of fact he was, and how he just nonchalantly switched the time up, like, "Oh, no big deal, you got time, you got about an hour," and then he, without skipping a beat, he just looks, "Yeah, you got about 5 minutes."
About
I was
5 minutes.
like,
I mean, it was funny when Mobius puts on the suit and then has the crack, the crack, and Ouroboros puts the tape on. And I'm like,
duct
yo,
tape.
this always has to happen. Like this always happens. Some science fiction thing. We got to just throw duct tape on it. It was just nice to see that little reference.
And like the
But
pat,
yeah, I was like,
Pat made it all better. You're good.
yeah,
You're
you're
good. Like,
good. You're
you
good.
realize I'm about to go
You're
out
good.
into vacuum of space. Looks like
And also that was like them. That reminded me. I love like the suit design. Like it was just so like
retro.
just like retro but different. It kind of reminded me of like just like kind of like the 80s. Oh my god, this French artist is about to escape me because I feel like I'm about to say I think is it Mobius? The French illustrator who used a lot of like round forms and just like expressive shapes. It kind of reminded me of that. And
I think you're right. It's Mobius.
yes, it is Mobius, Jean Garard. Like that reminded me of his work and just like the language, shape language. And then also, there was also another element that we kind of didn't really talk about earlier, which was like how the time slipping aspect and how Loki's kind of like going back in time and then going forward. And at first, I was very confused. I was like, "Yo, where is like Loki in time?" And then they start kind of answering these questions as we go on through the episode. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, the conversation between him and Mobius was funny when they were talking about Sylvie and I. We were fighting, and then she kicked me through a time door, and he's like, "I'd ask you who won, but that kind of explains it all." He's like, "Well, no, we kicked each other." He's like, "You kicked each other through a time door simultaneously, like at the same time?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, well then." He's like, "Well then, obviously that you lost. There's no need for me to ask the question. Still, like obviously she got the better of you." And he's like, "I was trying not to fight her." It's like, oh. Time slipping ready. The gang of hunters going off. When you see B-15 go handle the raid that they're planning, and you just see everybody. The rest of the people are evacuating, and all the hunters are going after Sylvie. And she's like, "All this just for Sylvie?" And then I forget what the other guy's name is. Another hunter that's standing there that actually apologized to Mobius for trying to prune him, saying, "I was just doing my job." He was like, "I don't like." He doesn't believe it. He think there's more. Obviously, there's more going into it, but you think some of them are still going to prune other timelines just because they feel that they still should be doing that, and not everybody's going for Sylvie?
I hope that it's a better reason than that. Like, I hope that they're working with somebody like somebody is orchestrating them, pruning people.
Mm.
I feel like if it's just because they want to keep the status quo, even though like their boss said that it could be different,
Yeah.
to me that feels like, you know, villain NPCs in a video game that you just are, that are continuously available to fight. But I want it to be a more interesting reason than that. Like I really want it to be where somebody is wants them to be pruning specific people for like a bigger reason or a bigger plot. But I have no idea.
I think the only bigger plot would be that they just see like the graph, like the timeline's out of control. Like we got to do something. It's going to overload.
Yeah, it's
the
causing
room.
brownouts practically in their universe, so it's having effect. So that kind of gives me a sense of like they got like they're urgent. There's a sense of urgency that they need to do something. So that's the thing that they're holding on to is like, well, we can try to prune it to course correct these branches, but
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's
Oh,
gonna
girl.
work.
Oh, girl in the ponytail, that was in the war room. I remember her, but I don't remember old boy that was falling asleep in season 1. Do you all? Homie was just knocked out.
Oh, the guy was he was leaning. No, I didn't recognize him at all.
I didn't recognize him. So you, Jocelyn, did you recognize him from season 1? Like I think the only one I definitely recognized from the war room was obviously Mobius, Loki, B-15, and I want to say old girl with the kind of the weird hands are the only ones that I recognize from season 1. But homie that was sleeping, I don't recognize him. Like, why is this dude here? And, we didn't talk about how Loki showed them the images of He Who Remains.
Yeah,
with the pruning stick. That was like a mural on the wall. Like that
was a nice reveal. I was like, oh,
that was very
he's
cool.
controlling everything.
Yeah.
Did y'all see the side note? Did y'all see the Ant-Man movie?
Yes.
I watched it one time and didn't rewatch it.
Yes, I saw it.
Now watching it.
How do you feel about? I'm not trying to derail your question, but I just how do you feel about like the events of that movie connecting to like Loki? Like, how do you feel about how that?
That just felt like weird context. For the reason of giving us context, because it's not necessarily a standalone. Like that on its own has no meaning, has no place in time. But obviously, it's a tool that they use to set some things up to me. That was basically Kang's. I don't even know why they called it Ant-Man. It's basically a Kang setup movie. After Loki season 1, when He Who Remains tells us about these various versions of Kang that will come after him, and then I feel like Quantumania was just there to show us these Kang variants that were coming.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and to add on to that, I feel like I just saw a post where someone was comparing that, like, basically saying they're more intimidated, or like Kang has more of a like presence, and he makes a more of an impact in Loki than in Quantumania. I'm like, yeah, that version. I'm like, I feel the gravity of Kang's of the weight of like what Kang is doing and the effect he has in the world, just off of the strength of like the Jonathan Majors acting from the last season, and then to see Loki come into this world and see that clearly Kang has complete control over one universe or one reality. And then when he goes back and realizes or reveals that Kang also controls that reality, it's like Kang's power is starting to be like truly like shown. Like I liked how that was done. It was just I'm actually worried about like who we might see at the end of the season. Like we're not getting Goofy Quantumanium dying by a bunch of ants.
Fair enough. And that movie disappointed me a lot. I was like, I felt like, I know we're not talking about the movie, but
it's connected. There's no reason it's more reason to bring it up. It's very much connected.
Textually, that's what it was there for. So it's kind of still on brand.
Yeah, I just felt disappointed by the movie, or more specifically, like Kang's presence in it. Like I was really hoping, like it was built up to be where we were gonna see like the might of his power. Like it was supposed to, he was supposed to feel like when Thanos first stepped on the scene and got to see more of him in that kind of way, but he didn't feel any kind of powerful. Like I was like, why he getting so easily worked like this? Why is he getting so? Why is he so quick to anger?
He get
Like,
worked out by ants.
yeah, I'm
Like,
like, this is
and he was
crazy.
fine before he got worked out by the ants. Like I was like,
Somebody,
okay.
Right.
somebody out
Well,
there
And
is
I'm
like,
like,
but they were giant ants.
I was like, but I don't care. Like this
I'm
man.
like, I don't want to see a feature film of this. Like,
What is this, a TV show? This felt like a TV show ending. Get stomped
yeah,
out by the
I was like,
ants.
this is crazy. I'm like, this is a bad variant, and I don't want to see it in 90, for 90 minutes, like maybe 15. It's,
The thing is, with this that can still be salvaged because you could. The funny thing is, you always have the alibi of, well, that was just a variant. That might have not been the true conqueror.
that shouldn't have been in no feature film though.
I agree with Jocelyn though. Like, don't waste my time. I mean, it was kind of a way. I mean, like that movie wasn't that great in my opinion.
No,
And ugh, Jesus, y'all just reminded me. I didn't want to think about it. Sorry, I didn't want to think about it because I'm like, it's funny because like we're saying, like Kang, let's just call him Kang, y'all. Kang in the Loki series has way more weight, and it seemed like Jonathan Major's character just might have been written a little bit better. He was written way better in the Loki series, or at least the performance he gave was a little more interesting.
yeah,
It's interesting. It's kind of like Wanda Maximoff, WandaVision, how she's written so well in there, and then you watch Multiverse of Madness, and it's almost like
She's just an angry mom trying to get back to reality. Like,
yeah, her
I'm burning
character.
it all down.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a different lady. This is not written by the same people.
that was
And that's just
too
This is why. This
nonsensical
is
to
why
me.
you gotta use. Sometimes you just gotta stick with some of the writers. They're like, no, Hollywood.
But yeah, they obviously the funny part is you mentioned the back and forth jumps through time that Loki does, and it was almost as if I don't. Do you think Mobius consciously wrote "skin?" on the side of the monitor in the dust to let him know that he was in the future if he came back to that one room? And if so, I'm like, why wasn't the time stick left there on the ground? Like, why'd they pick up the time stick?
Well, someone could have picked up the time stick.
Yeah,
Someone else
but
could have
they
picked up
didn't
the time
show us
stick and
that.
cleaned it
He
up.
just
But
popped
also,
back
yeah,
in.
he just popped in the future,
Yeah,
which that was also cool in itself. I was like, ooh, this is interesting. Where he's gonna get the pruning stick? And I just liked how like we're kind of moving between the future and the present. Mobius is present, and I like how when like Mobius goes out to like the whole the time loom, and like you're seeing like the suit degrade, like, and Ouroboros told him like things are gonna age, and I thought those was really nice how he's kind of traveling, trying to like go against it, and I was like, this is looking really good right now. I'm really happy.
You know that that reminded me of, Hercules. Like like towards the end when Hercules has to jump in the river Styx to go save Meg. But he's getting aged by all the water and the souls in there. And it's like he has to make it before like the fates cut the thread. And that whole thing reminded me of that. And I was like, ooh, these are good parallels.
Disney did it on purpose.
Mhm.
Had to. They did it on purpose. Oh man.
when Loki's kind of in a panic towards the end of this episode, running around trying to find another pruning stick, we get a glimpse of Sylvie opening either a door, elevator, or something, and she says, "There you are," but we don't actually see who pruned him from behind.
Exactly. That is the
Yeah.
mystery. That is the mystery.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, who pruned him?
Because all you see is the circular, the cylinder part end, like business end of the pruning stick pop through his chest, and then he disappears. And that, I guess, that cord that was into the timeline was where Mobius was that thing was supposed to pull him out of the timeline and preserve him, basically prune himself, and then gets pulled back in to the timeline. I guess is that going to anchor him there, and now he won't glitch anymore. He won't time.
Yeah,
Slip.
that device that they locked into that the device that controls the time limit,
If it
whatever. Yeah.
wasn't Sylvie, who do you think it was that pruned him?
I'm gonna speculate it was I had two options.
Maybe another Loki
I was
variant.
thinking that too.
I think it
Or
was
it could have been a
B5.
future.
Did we already see
future
B5 go through the portal?
I mean, it doesn't matter. They could write it anyway. It's she did or didn't go in the portals. Someone was there in the future to help make sure that happened. So I also would think it was a Loki variant.
It was if it is though, if it is B5, that's kind of inadvertent help because he wanted to prune him initially when he popped up in the war room. He tried to prune him, and then Loki took the stick from him, and he took it back after everybody was told to stand down. But I'm not sure whether he actually, because I see him looking at B15, but I don't know if he actually stepped through the portal as everybody's like in rank and file, just walking in mass through the portal. But that might have been him that pruned, but we don't see Sylvie do it. But I think they showed us her that brief glimpse there for a reason. Like, why would you show her popping her head through saying, there you are? Like she found him.
I think it's a good way to keep us excited because we don't otherwise see her throughout this episode. Give us something to look forward to.
Yeah. Conversely, though, because it's kind of confusing because did you guys see the end credit scene?
Yeah. Oh, you forgot.
Yeah, look.
Tell me what happened. Someone tell me what happened. I walked away.
Yeah, they flash.
Everybody's listening.
There's like a little flash, and then Sylvie steps out of a time door into what looks like suburban grassy area, and then she walks into a McDonald's, like what it looks like specifically like a 1950s McDonald's. And yeah, it's just retro McDonald's. She walks in and she doesn't know how to order food apparently at the McDonald's. She's like, how do we do this? And there's a young white kid there, and he's like, well, we have plenty of stuff to eat. What would you like to eat? And she's like, I don't want dog, I don't want rat, I don't want possum, nothing with a face, I want it dead, nothing that looks at me. And he's like, well, there's a lot of things. You could try our new chicken McNuggets. So we've got this Big Mac, we got a fillet of fish. And then she kind of just zones out and turns around and she looks out into the rest of the McDonald's. And this is kind of where I time it because it looks like she's looking at people that are sitting there in the restaurant and looking at their mode of dress, looking at the motif of the restaurant, and the things that he's mentioning as if they're like brand new things. Big Mac, a filet of fish. I really like this quarter pounder that we just came up with.
Yeah, with cheese.
Yeah, have it with or without cheese. But she's kind of zoned, like everything's kind of muffled. She's zoning everything this kid is saying out, and she's just staring out. And then she's like, I want to try everything. And then that's how.
Credit.
Yeah, that's the end of the credits there. But yeah, Sylvie. But no, I was thinking that something. What's going on? I was thinking that they were going to end with the hunters were going to come out like and surround her or something, and then it was going to cut off. But they didn't do that. They just have it with her sitting there at McDonald's and then wanting to try everything apparently because she hadn't been to McDonald's.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. There he is.
It's Mobius. She's got a weird like look on her face, like a satisfied smile, like she thinks she's done whatever she thought she did it. Like things are perfect.
I was very confused. I was so confused.
Yeah, she looks like all is well with the world. I've done it. I killed he who remains, and now I can go about living my life now that I've got my revenge for the person that tried to set up. I guess not even the person. She's mad at the TVA for trying to constantly kill her and went on the offensive. So I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I kept thinking back to like the episode before the last one where or maybe it was the last episode, but where Loki basically finds out he's just like way more powerful than he realized.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I'm wondering how those powers are going to manifest, in the season, and I'm thinking maybe him phasing in and out of like, you know, the timelines, the past and present and all that stuff. Like maybe that's part of it. We didn't see it, but you know, I'm just like, I don't know, all his magic got green stuff on it. Him flipping
Yeah.
through time don't got no green stuff on it. So what's going on with that? I don't know. So,
If it ain't got green stuff on it, I don't know what's happening.
yeah, I'm
Did
like,
y'all
oh
see? Did y'all see the movie with Jet Li called The One?
Yes.
See, when I
Man.
heard OB tell Loki that he would be pruning, I thought he was saying basically go and prune yourself from all the timelines. And I kept thinking, oh, well, is that going to happen? Like he's going to become more and more powerful the more variants he prunes of himself because he's the only Loki remaining. So the power just keeps going back into him from the essence of the other Lokis. That'd been crazy. But that's what I thought of when he was like, hey, you got to prune yourself from the timeline.
That would have been a lot. That would have taken a long time to do that. Couldn't have done that in one episode.
Yeah, very interesting episode to me. Not a whole ton of actual action, but a lot of suspense. The quirky repartee, the conversations back and forth were funny and good. I can't wait till they get to it though. I'm ready for the action always.
Yeah, we know what you're here for.
But in saying that, I was still very satisfied with this first episode. It was good to me.
yeah, I thought it was very interesting, and engaging. It wasn't boring. It, like I said, I liked that it picked right back up where we left off. Sylvie just left me confused. But that's okay. I'm sure we'll figure it out. I liked it. I'm excited for I'm excited for Loki magic. That's my favorite thing about Loki is that he be doing some real good and cool magic stuff, and I want to see that.
Yeah.
Magic man. He's a green magic man.
Magic man. You know what I'm saying? Magic man.
Octopus Prime. We were talking about Loki season 2 episode 1, and I guess we're gonna ride this one out until the season ends. We'll end with this and then find something else to discuss. But looking forward to how the rest of this unfolds. Don't know about y'all. It sounds like y'all are interested.
No, I'm already here. I'm not here for the action. I'm here for the mystery and the better dialogue and writing of characters.
You got to get a wow count going. See how many? If he even breaks it out, Owen Wilson got to break. He got to give us a couple wows before the season ends.
It was funny when they were in the elevator. And he was saying, like, before they got in the elevator, he told them, "Oh, it's not that bad." And then they get back, they get in the elevator. He time slips again, and then that other person is there watching. I was like, that was so funny. I was like, "Yo!"
And she didn't even know what to say. She's like, "How'd that look to you?" And then the camera pans over, and we like the audience. That was kind of funny because the audience, we have no idea there's another person witnessing this conversation. We thought it was them two alone. Not a fan, Hash. Didn't like season 1. Hash. I like you, boy, but that's man. You like your name right now. Like you might have been smoking something. Cause wow.
Wow.
You said wow.
Man, we enjoyed Loki around these parts, even though and the wife liked it too. And
I can understand. Well, I don't understand. Not like kept falling asleep. There were some parts of it that dragged. I can admit that for sure. It was a lot of kind of waiting to figure out what is going on. Mm-hmm. So I get it. I definitely think it's worth the wait. It shouldn't have taken as long to get to where it got to. So I don't blame you. But
I think they were staggering things, to be honest. The wife and I were discussing, like, when Loki came out, she's like, "Oh, it's out this soon after Ahsoka?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, they got to have something staggered, put there in the interim to keep you, subscribed." Because how some people, if there's nothing to watch, they'll cut it off. Well, I'll wait, 2 months till whatchamacallit come out. Then I'll pop it back on. So after Ahsoka was over, they were going to need to have something to try and keep people tuned in.
Well, Loki was always supposed to come out like Halloweenish October.
Mm.
I think for this year, right? So
Yeah.
this was always part of the kind of schedule
Yeah.
for the shows, I think. So
And this one was already done, right? So it probably wasn't affected by the strikes and everything. This was already done. They were just waiting to release it. I don't think.
Mhm.
Dang, they had this show done before the strike.
That's what I'm saying. I think Loki had already been done, and so it wasn't in danger of not coming out. Whereas things that were kind of in mid-production are in limbo until everything is pretty much settled. But we'll
Right.
see. Well, folks, appreciate you that tuned in. 3 or 4 of you, Hash, Octopus Prime, and I think we had 2 other local lurkers that didn't comment, but I saw a little eyeball up in
I
the top
saw
left
you.
corner. So I know that folks were watching. I appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to watch us chew the fat over this show. We're going to keep this series going, following Loki each week. You can,
Yeah,
yeah, Octopus Prime
that's
says
right.
creepy. Yeah, people be creeping. I be creeping too sometimes. I don't say nothing all the time. I just
Mhm.
want to hear what folks have to say. And to Jocelyn and Jordan, thank you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedules to chop it up with me. We will do this again next week after I get back from New York Comic Con. Actually, I might have to delay that because I think I'm staying somewhere for a couple days after. So we'll couch this conversation and see what time I come back, and we'll figure it out. Appreciate
Good
y'all.
luck with New York Comic Con.
Yes.
Thank you. Talk to you all soon. Peace out.
Peace.